for watching this replay about Princess Charlotte, Princess of Wales. So I'm talking about the Princess Charlotte who was grandchild of George III. She was the only legitimate grandchild of George III, despite him having 11 surviving children. And she was the daughter of his eldest son, George, who later became George IV. Now, Princess Charlotte was a very popular princess. She was almost an antidote, really, to the Hanoverian dynasty and their bad behaviour, really. They were known for their illness, for their overindulgence, for their addiction to drink and drugs, and really not a very good example to the country. Whereas Princess Charlotte, she was far more a character that people could identify with and love. Now, we forget about Princess Charlotte. I was actually looking through some of my books now to try and find a photograph for you. Photograph of her portrait for you to show you. And she's just absent in the books. And her life and her death was so significant because it led to the birth of Victoria. Victoria, who became Queen Victoria, may not have even been born had it not have been for the death of Charlotte, because when Charlotte died, she, being the only legitimate heir of George III, spurred a rather almost ridiculous race to produce an heir within the rest of George III's children. But Princess Charlotte, she was, so she married in May 1816, she married Prince Leopold of Saxe-Coburg, who was the uncle of Prince Albert, who would go on to marry Queen Victoria. And she married for love. She was very much in love with Leopold, but unfortunately tragedy did strike 18 months later when she was giving birth to their first child, to what would have been the next in line to the throne. It was November 1817. It was an extremely long labour, and the boy was eventually born dead, and she in fact committed suicide within about, I think it was 3 months of her death. So much was the guilt he felt for allowing the heir or second in line to the throne and what would have been the next in line to the throne to die. And the public mourning for her was massive. It was equivalent to what we saw for Princess Diana 20 years ago. And so for Princess Charlotte to be unknown, to many the way she is like Diana being forgotten in the next 100, 200 years, which we probably find unfathomable at the moment. But there were commemorative items created and sold. People wanted to remember their princess, and it was a huge grief, proper public grief, unlike anything that had been seen before, and probably between her and the passing of Diana 20 years ago. There were quite a few similarities between the two women. So Princess Charlotte was such a significant figure, mainly because she died. But if you go to St George's Chapel in Windsor, you will see the most amazing memorial to her. The tomb is made of white marble. There's a shrouded figure of a woman lying down. The mourners are all shrouded, you can't see their faces, and there are two angels, one carrying the stillborn child, looking up to Charlotte as she ascends to heaven, and she is buried there at St George's Chapel with her son at her feet. And it's really poignant tomb to stand near. Even if you didn't know that story, you can grasp from the tomb that this was an extremely well loved lady and one who was missed greatly. So Princess Charlotte, hopefully now you have at least a slight knowledge of her. You know that she existed, which is my aim for this live. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.